Hi, this is Velma Bland. I am going to go over the last time when I completed the last video. I read through Genesis 24th chapter, and I think it's been about maybe a week since I have come back to this. Um, Sometimes I might complete it the next day or a few days later, but I've been like really exhausted and I didn't get enough sleep. But um, I'm going to resume with chapter 25, Genesis, and I am going to move through. It's a very short chapter. I'm going to move through to chapter 26 and 28. I might break the videos up. Um, Before I begin, I just want to say that I truly pray that somewhere around the world that we at least save at least one person if we can't save everybody. Within the troubles that you're experiencing in life, it's very important to understand that you exist because you were born as a living soul through your parents. And if it had not been for your parents, you would not even be alive. And I know from within my own life, and it may not be very important as anyone else's life. Because a lot of people believe that their life is more important than yours. But I think that my life is important. It's just as well as anyone else as well. But I'm the type of person that believes that everyone deserves a chance. Everyone deserves to have a life, to be given, to receive support, to everyone has a chance to contribute if that's their business to society. And I believe that the happiness, truly the happiness that we seek, the happiness is there, but you cannot have happiness if you're living your life in sadness and if you do not believe in yourself, if you have something going on within you that should be that should change, because some people find that you know they're not able to change, but everyone else in the world has to change for them. They don't ever have to change. Okay, you are the problem. I'm not the problem. You have to change. But I believe that everyone has something that they know about themselves that change helps you feel better about yourself. And if you change whatever it is that you are doing that is making you unhappy, because I don't go around pointing a finger and saying, this person makes me unhappy, unless that person did something to me and they're pressing on with an issue to turn it into a small little grain of rice into an explosion that was just a small grain of rice. So, but I think that everyone should be smart enough to dig deep into your own customs, your own upbringing, your own innate behavior, to know that if you go over there and you say something rude to somebody and and they don't say anything rude to you, but you just go over there and say something rude to somebody, you're at risk of having the same response, because many of us believe that the last word said is the only word heard. But everyone hears the first person initiate a fight with others. But they're not hearing the first, but the last person that responds to it is supposed to be a doormat in order for you to have a happy life. You must lay down flat and be a doormat for everyone. And that's something that I find that throughout my life is everyone is expected for me to be a doormat. And as soon as I began to stand up for my rights. Now I don't have anybody want to follow behind me when I follow behind them most of my life. And as I said before in other videos, when I followed you, I didn't get anywhere. I trust me, and because I trust me, I'm moving forth. And I think that in order for everyone to be able to enjoy their own peace and to start feeling as though everyone else is making you, slowing you down, you're finding excuses to waste time, to buy time, or you find excuses to linger on until that special someone that you really want to be around accepts you back. And we're having people who are just are not nice at all to people who are nice to them. And the people who are nice to them are being called names and labeled as stupid idiots and dopes and everything. And I thought that when we're living by the word of God, that we're a righteous people, that we're just doing what God asks us to do, and we're living our lives according to the teachings, according to the practice. But we have this world today, they're the first one that bursts the church door open. They don't believe, and they understand the Bible just as well as I am, and just as well as anyone else. But they refuse to follow the Bible. They refuse to open up their heart to love, because God is love. God is not hate. God is all about love. It's about finding love and starting a family, marrying and starting a family and building together as one. It's a union. It's not I need to be happy and you need to be unhappy. Ha 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 ha. You're suffering and I'm not. And then when I catch up with you and I'm happy as you're happy, now you want to kill somebody. So I really don't understand people like that. And we have a lot of that self-preservation today. And I heard that in Candace Staten's song, that you have to live your life, because there's everybody is self-preserved and they don't really care anymore, and it's all about money, it's all about surviving, and it all boils down to the very start of the way how our livelihoods and how society is structured, and the way how our livelihoods has been set ahead. Did anyone give us a head start? Because if you're given a head start, then you're able to keep walking and you don't have to look back. But if no one gave you a head start, you're suffering, you're pushing, you're praying, you're hoping, and you can pray all you want to. You go to work tomorrow, you can pray all you want to. But if you work for the devil, your prayer doesn't, your prayer is not going to help. And I've heard some sermons where they believe that we are supposed to, the little guy are supposed to change the boss, who is a devil, who refuses to smile, refuses to be nice, it refuses to acknowledge to your hard efforts at work, and you're doing everything that they're asked you to do. You come to work every day, but everybody else calling in sick, and they get you're fired. So we I think we got it all wrong, and I know I was raised around the same group of people, but I think we got it all wrong. I don't believe I'm wrong at all, and I'm justifiable. And you can fight me until the sun turn black, green, purple, come back white, and turn back black. I am not giving in to wrongdoings. I don't believe I'm wrong on this. We were raised with the same rules and regulations. And I don't think that anyone should believe that you're better than the next guy if we're all equally yoked and we were given the same rules and regulations and we're all born with the same blood in our bodies and we're all the same people. There's no one better than God. There's no one better than me. We're all equal. And God is our master, and his son Jesus is who we call to when we need to speak to somebody and we need help. We call and pray and recommend. I recommend you, dear Lord, into my life. Today I'm troubled. I don't want to come to you, weary, because you want me to be, a spirit of God and to be positive and to trust in you, Lord. but I need to speak about an issue. So that's how you come to the Lord God. You don't come to Him about bless me with $1 million, and I need this, and I need this, and I need a job, and there's this, and you haven't yet praised His name and said that I recommend you into my life. You know, thank you for today because it's a beautiful day. Thus, I'm having some troubles today. I thank you for those troubles because your troubles usually strengthen you. So I'm going to move ahead and I'm going to start on chapter 25. Then saith, then again Abraham took a wife, and her name was Keturah, and she bare him Zimran and Jokshan and Medan and Midian and Ishbak and Shua. Verse 3. And Jokshan begat Sheba and Dedan, and the sons of Dedan were Asherim and Letushim and Leammon. Excuse me, I'm gonna turn the television down. I think it's good. Okay, thank you. Um, so it looks like we're going into chapter 25. Abraham took a wife because he, at this time, the last video I spoke about, when he sent his elder servant to go out and seek a wife for his son Isaac. And we went over that. And so now he is in the latter stage because Sarah has on in chapter, is it 23? I think it was. Um, Sarah passed on in 24, let's see, 24. Yeah, 23. That's correct. So now he's in search of a new wife. And in it's all commonplace when we lose a husband or a wife. It takes a while, and then you believe that it's the right time now that you seek another partner, another wife or husband. So, as it says here, the sons of Midian, Ephah, and Epher, and Hanak, and Abida, and Eldah, all these were the children of Keturah. Now, I didn't think that Abraham, it looks like the first, I didn't think that Abraham would ever have any more children. But now he has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 more children, and they were given to him by Keturah. 5. And Abraham gave all that he had unto Isaac. All of his possessions, he willed everything to Isaac. 6. But unto the sons of the concubines which Abraham had, Abraham gave gifts and sent them away from Isaac his son, while he yet lived, eastward into the east country. So that is the same thing that as we have today. Um, Men who has children with other women, um, nowadays they pay child support. They confirm that these children are their children. They pay child support. And so now, what Abraham did was I'm recording. What Abraham did was he gave gifts to his children that were born by his concubines. So the death of Abraham. Now, verse 7 it speaks about the death of Abraham. And these are the days of the years of Abraham's life, which he lived, 100 threescore and 15 years. So he lived 100, he lived to be 103, 103 score and 15 years, 118 years old. Then Abraham gave up the ghost and died in a good old age, an old man and full of years, and was gathered to his people. So when he gave up the ghost, as the Holy Spirit, he gave up his body and gave up the ghost, the Holy Spirit, and he moved on and transitioned into his new life. And Abraham gave up the ghost and died in a good old age, an old man and full of years, and was gathered to his people. 9. And his sons Isaac and Ishmael buried him in the cave of Machpelah, in the field of Ephron, the son of Zohar the Hittite, which is before Mamre. And it's the same place where Abraham buried Sarah. The field which Abraham purchased of the sons of Heth, there was Abraham buried and Sarah his wife. Verse 11. And it came to pass after the death of Abraham that God blessed his son Isaac. And Isaac dwelt by the well Lahai Roi. Lahai Roi. Lahai Roi. It's very difficult sometimes to pronounce the words here, but it sounds like it's a place in Hawaii. Lahai Roi. The generations of Ishmael. Verse 12. Now these are the generations of Ishmael, Abraham's son, whom Hagar the Egyptian, Sarah's handmaid, bare unto Abraham. And these are the names of the sons of Ishmael by their names, according to their generations. The firstborn of Ishmael, Nebajoth, and Kedah, and Adbil, and Mibsam, and Mishma, and Duma, and Massa, Hadar, and Tema, Jetur, Naphish, and Kedemah. Verse 15. So there are the names of the sons of Ishmael by their names. So according to their generations, the firstborn of Ishmael was Nebajoth and Kedah and Adbeel and Mibsam. So now Mibsam and Duma and Massa. So Hadar and Tema, Jetur, Naphish, and Kedemah. There was so many children of the generations of Ishmael. 16. These are the sons of Ishmael, and these are their names by their towns and by their castles, 12 princes according to their nations. And these are the years of the life of Ishmael, 137 years, and he gave up the ghost and died, and was gathered into his people. Verse 18. And they dwelt from Havilah unto Shur, that is before Egypt, as thou goest toward Assyria, and he died in the presence of all his brethren. So again, and they dwelt, verse 18, chapter 25, and they dwelt from Havilah into Shur, that is before Egypt, as thou goest toward Assyria, and he died in the presence of all his brethren. So Ishmael lived to be 137 years old. And so when he died, his people, all of his children and his people, they all gathered together and they met up at Assyria. And Assyria, they dwelt in Havilah and Shur, that is before Egypt, as thou goest toward Assyria. And he died in the presence of all his brethren. So right now, today, near Assyria and Syria and all these places, Tehran and Lebanon, Right now, there is a great controversy going on between the U.S. and Iran and Iraqi. They have issues with the ISIS and ISIL, and it's still ongoing for so many years and decades now about their freedoms and their democracies, or in the U.S. are being sort of like adopted, attempt to adopt these democracies into a land of people who are uh, mostly guided by high chief priests. And as the Bible is saying here in the scriptures, is at the same place where they're having this war, is where all of the great people, all of God's people who he first created, the prophets were all there. And so it's one of the reasons why this land, Jerusalem and Israel and all the places over there, Holy Land, um, they're still trying to protect God's land away from the things that are not holy, unholy, to keep unholy things away from God's land. And so there's a situation about the land and being disproportionate, um, for the people of Israel, vice versa, the people of the Palestinians has been disproportionate. Adequate land and clean water and things like that. And we have had, when Bush Sr. was president of the United States in 1988 through his first term. He never made it to the second term. Through 1992, we ended up with the Desert Storm War over there, and 1992, I believe it was, and 93. And so we are all different people, and we are different people, and we're living in a different nation with our value systems, with our democracies here in the United States. The United States vowed to become alliances to help those poor countries, underdeveloped countries, whenever they are seeking aid or whenever there are sufferers of atrocities and genocide take place, when they experience wars and destruction. The U.S. always come to the aid of these people in the Middle East. And but if they do not want our help, and the people that do not want us around our help, um, is the Islamic State, insurgents, and the Islamic State of another group, which is called the Devant. They are grounded in their beliefs, and they believe in the Quran, and some of them are against one another, and they do not want the United States over there trying to change their people away from the traditions, the religions that they were innately born with, that they're not supposed to adopt Americans' uh, democracies. So, but what America has to do, because of what's happening over there, can streamline over to the U.S., is to go over and try to find a way to help the women and children, and to help those who are um, sufferers of wars and have been maimed, and the children or have suffered because they're now fatherless and their parents have been murdered through all these different small little local wars due to different coups, and local wars where everyone claims their territory. And so when everyone is claiming a territory, the weaker will not survive, only the strong will survive. And so the U.S. is over there now as an alliance to try and reason to get agreements, treaties to form. And if no one wants to come to closure at the Geneva Convention, or if they do not want to come to closure or to meet consensus at through United Nations commissions meetings with their people from legal representatives to speak on their behalf, because if we do not, if the USA are not sure that things are going on over in the Middle East, if they're unsure if the Middle East are happy, if the Middle East are not happy, and if they're expressing hostility about something that there have been something that has been short-lived, of which they believe should be in their lives, and they've been taken for granted, then the U.S. is going to hear about problems that arise over in the Middle East, wars, people being beheaded, and you know, things that we don't want to see happen. So then that's what the U.S. is for. They are supposed to go over and help people who are in trouble like that, who are sufferers of destruction, and most importantly, if similar to Iraq's war in 2003, um, when the U.S. had to go over there and regarding post 9/11, uh, uh, Saddam Hussein death and everything. There was a lot of things already going on, but what I'm trying to say is that everything that is happening right now in contemporary um, was already happening many years, decades, centuries ago, around the time when God destroyed Sodom, and when we had another before Sodom, there was a flood with Noah. So now that is the last um, apocalypse that took place in the world around the globe. Was Sodom was to be a real apocalypse. We haven't had one yet. We've had wars, World War I, World War II, because of differences, because of people want power. They want capital. They want to lead. They want to take over. Some people are just greedy. They just want to have it all. But the United States, as I understand from the literature that I've studied throughout history classes and even up to now through the doctorate program I've just completed, the United States are supporters of a big four, and these supporters are England and China. These are developed countries who are well developed, and we have Russia. It's the United States, China, Russia, and England. That's four. Now there is really there's eight. There's eight, but right now we're working with four nations. We have the bear, we have the eagle, we have the bear, which is Russia. We have the eagle, which is U.S., and we have the lion, which is London, and we have China, which is symbolic of the dragon because it's here in the Bible in Revelations. So what we have here is we're yet to have um, we're yet to have an apocalypse like we've had when fire came upon and brimstone fell upon Sodom. And I don't understand why the people today do not believe that they could be taken by the same type of catastrophes could happen through God's wrath or through the bad weather. And these are things that we don't look forward to experiencing on a day-to-day basis. But anything can happen. So right now, whenever there are controversies, whenever there are countries who are not agreeable to the treaties that they should, like all the other countries, everyone comes to the Geneva Convention to state their cases, and they're to be heard. The President of the United States is there, and all other prime ministers and leaders of world leaders are there, and so it is a time when something is not working well, and these prime ministers bring it to the table what's going on, and they must bring it, the information, so that everyone can hear their case. It's just like you're having a big, you're having a meeting, but it's a convention, and everyone eats a big dinner afterwards and everything. So the fairness of having so many complexities, so many different people from different lands and nations with different religions and beliefs. No matter how different you are, when it comes down to meeting agreements in businesses, we must set our differences aside. And that's exactly what we're going through now with ISIS and ISIL, and they're unhappy with the United States military coming over there and training a local Iraqi troops how to defend themselves. And they don't want us over there. They don't want the United States getting meddling into their business. And I mean, it's all in literature. It's not coming from me. I mean, I'm saying what I've read and what I've learned through the studies. And conflicts analysis resolution program gives me all this information. And from what I've studied and from what I've learned over the past 6 years now, since 2009 April, no one can take that away from me. I mean, I'm speaking from professors who are top professors, tenured, and they are grooming me and many other students to understand the literature that has to do with conflicts, terrorism, school conflict, local conflict, community affairs, uh, youth truancy, child abuse, senior abuse, murders, rape. I mean, it's so many different things. The ethnic cultural conflicts, black uh, plague that's going on now. They call it a plague, black on black plague. Plague. It used to be black on black crimes, and now they're saying it's a plague. It's really getting bad. And now we have the Ebola virus is coming over here, and it's right here in the Bible that God is going to send a message to us, a signs that it's the last days, is through these diseases that's happening. And everyone is around here talking about Velma Bland is doing her videos and she's not a pastor and blah 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 blah. But I'm doing the work that I was told to do. What are you doing? I know what I'm talking about because it's right here in the Bible. And so from where we were at with Abraham dying and giving up his ghost, that means that he had to give up his life, his what, living soul, his being. He had to give it up. But why should you or I, okay, allow someone to take our ghosts away from us because they hate us, or because they mad about something, because they don't want you here, because they're tired of looking at you. I'm tired of hearing you. Tired of you. I'm tired of this. I'm tired of that. Tired of that. As if they think no one is tired of them. I'm tired of you too. But I don't have it in my blood to just because I'm tired of you. I want to go get a gun and blow your brains out because you're trying to help people understand what's going on. Because I believe that we should be informed, and if informing the people that who are misinformed or uninformed is a crime, then we need to put that in writing. We need to put it in writing in the U.S. Constitution. So what we have here is double standards. What is going on, and we know it, and everybody want to party and ignore what's going on, and boom, what are you going to do? You're unprepared. Boom, it can happen. I trust that America's security might be um, well rounded to protect all areas of where we are through satellite, NASA, the Marines, submarines. We have all of our militaries out there working very hard, and we must look up to them and respect them, as well as to give them some support and respect, because they're laying their life down for us, and they're not respected when they come home, and they're missing limbs, and they look a mess, and we don't even say, "I'm sorry," when we see them, but "Thank you, I'm so sorry, what happened to you." This is something that I think that people should have naturally, that you should have it within your soul. It's empathy for others who have stuck their necks out for you, and then you want to act like they're not worthy. And I don't understand. I just don't understand it. Maybe I'm different, maybe I'm slow, I don't know. But I don't think I'm slow because I want to be right. I think that I don't need to go out and sell drugs and do all sorts of crimes in order for me to survive, because I trust in God. People who need to do that do not trust in God. They do not trust in God. If you are a person that needs to go out and commit crimes, hurt people, lie, cheat, steal, kill, you do not believe in God. You do not believe in God's, you do not have faith in God. You do not trust that He's going to send somebody to be there for you until He decides to bless you. It's a similar situation between God and Cain. When Cain was impatient and he was rushing to God to show him everything that he had done, but his youngest brother Abel was bringing in prophets. That's the fat. He was bringing in the fat. He wasn't talking about skin. He was bringing in profit. So if you're not profiting in anything, why are you why are you still trying to push something that's not working? Because I was told, as a salesperson, if you have not closed within 15 minutes, you need to go to the next person. 15 minutes. Okay? And if they hang up on you, I don't believe you should call them back unless you were not talking to the person, the owner of the house. Or if they slam the door in your face, don't go back. Because we must move on to the next level. So why must we stay in one spot? Velma Bland, Velma Bland, Velma Bland, Velma Bland, Velma Bland, Velma Bland. We need to be over here too. Dr. Velma Bland, Dr. Velma Bland, Dr. Velma Bland, Dr. Velma Bland. They still want to Velma Bland, Velma Bland, Velma Bland, Velma Bland. They refuse to go to the truth. Dr. Velma Bland, Dr. Velma Bland, Dr. Velma Bland. That's what's going on. But I'm supposed to lift you up because you up on the strip pole and making $3,000 in one day. I'm sorry. God said no. He told Cain to get out of his face. I'll come for you when I'm ready. Because what you're doing, I'm not ready to evaluate you yet. Though you did grow some plants out there, you got fruit coming up, whatever, but you're not profiting anything. And that means that could be profit in cash, or it could be profit in your behavior, or he knew Cain was going to murder his brother, because God knows everything before we even think about it, what we're going to say. And you're not God. You're not God. You can read minds, interpret data, send voice tracks, ad blasters, Androids, Comcast, AT&T, Skype. scan, you're still not God. You're fake. So where we are here is with Abraham, um, his generation of Ishmael. Now we're going to the generations of Isaac. 19:25 verse. And these are the generations of Isaac. Abraham's son Abraham begat Isaac. And Isaac was 40 years old when he took Rebekah to wife. Because remember, the elder servant found Rebekah for Isaac. The daughter of Bethuel, the Syrian of let me see, the Syrian of Padanaram, the sister to Laban the Syrian. So right now, I said Syria. There's a lot of hell raising going on right now. And God blessed Abraham as a judge over everybody. And so now his children are right now, at that time, okay, we're in Syria. So now we understand why these people are fighting and carrying on over there, and they're defiant to agree to anything the United States is trying to sell them. Now we understand that, right? So Velma is not talking bad about the United States. I'm explaining to you that as written here now, do you understand why they refuse to follow any traditions of democracies of the US? And I know that we're trying hard to bring everybody together, but if they don't want to be your friend, why are you trying to force your entry into their land? And that would be that would be any territory, even in the United States. That would be with any territory. Why must we push our way through gates when they don't want us there? Because the United States has agreements that they must show interest when things has gone out of hand, where human life, okay, I'm sorry, uh, um, mass destruction, war against mankind, genocides, diseases, global climates. When all of these problems arise, the United States, and you look at the map, look at your world sphere. United States is like a little patch, and Russia is huge up there. And you come around there, you have all the islands. The United States is inside of one big circle, and they're this small. Look, the United States, okay, but that's Florida hanging down. This was right, about that small, and Russia is huge. Okay, that's like saying a little guy has a lot of power over a big, huge monster that I believe are hiding things, and somebody else who are very close to us know the whole story. Verse 21. And Isaac entreated the Lord for his wife, because she was barren, and the Lord was entreated of him, and Rebekah his wife conceived. Okay, so Isaac entreated the Lord for his wife. So what he did is he made an agreement with the Lord. You know, he prayed, entreated, like entreated. He um, spoke with him about his needs, and so like asked for favor, and he entreated. He asked for his help. He wanted his wife to have children, and so he entreated the Lord for his wife. because she was barren, and the Lord was entreated of him, meaning they came together, favored him, and Rebekah, his wife, conceived. 22. And the children struggled together within her, and she said, If it be so, why am I thus? And she went to inquire of the Lord. So, why am I like this? If it be so, why am I barren? Why am I thus? And the children struggled together within her, and she said, If it be so, why am I thus? Why did you make me a mother? Why was I barren? Why did you make me a mother? Because the children struggled together within her. She had twins. So the twins was giving her a lot of problems. And she went to inquire of the Lord about the problems the twins was giving her while they were in her womb. And 23, and the Lord said unto her, Two nations are in thy womb, and two manner of people shall be separated from thy bowels. And the one people shall be stronger than the other people, and the elder shall serve the younger. So the babies that she was carrying somewhere along the future, in their future lives, the Lord God was telling her that there were going to be two nations, like two different people are inside of her. Because twins are all there's always a good twin, a bad twin, and you don't understand why the good twin is never telling the bad twin to stop misbehaving. So that's what he's saying, that they're going to be the babies that she's carrying are going to be our future nations, and they're going to be different people. And that's the same people that's fighting over there right now. The same people. Because they're in Syria. Esau and Jacob sale of the birthright. This is verse 24. We're still on chapter 25. And when her days to be delivered were fulfilled, behold, there were twins in her womb. And the first came out red, all over like a hairy garment, and they called his name Esau. And after that came his brother out, and his hand took hold on Esau's heel, and his name was called Jacob. And Isaac was 80 old when she bare them. Okay, so she was 30 years old. Isaac, I'm sorry. Isaac, the dad, was 30 years old when Rebekah bare the twins. So Esau was red, came out red all over like a hairy garment. He was red skin and hairy. And they called his name Esau. So he was like tanned, bronze tanned. And after that came his brother out. His hand, the brother was holding on to his twin brother's heel. I guess he said, "You're not gonna leave me in here." And he's grabbed hold of his brother's heel. So when he was born, he was holding on to the brother heel. 26. And after that came his brother out, and his hand took hold on Esau's heel, and his name was called Jacob, and Isaac was threescore years old when she bare them. 27. And the boys grew up and developed, and Esau was a cunning hunter, a cunning, like a con artist, cunning, and he's clever. He's he's always doing stuff that you can't keep up with what he's planning. And when you learn, it's too late. A man of the field, and Jacob was a plain man dwelling in tents. Now, when we say a man of the field, he's not talking about, I think what it's saying is like playing the field. He knew he was a hunter. So if you enter his territory where he hunts, he knew that area very well. It's the same as you came into a territory where there were lions and tigers and bears, and you didn't know they were there. And then they smell you from miles away before you even get there. Miles away before you even get there, they smell you. And then when you arrive, they already know you're coming. Well, that's the same thing. That's the same thing that would happen with a hunter. He knows that territory very well. He's cunning, and he was a man of the field. So he's always out there hunting. He's always out there cunning, doing things, man of the field. And the boys grew, and Esau was cunning hunter and man of the field, and Jacob was a plain man dwelling in tents. So Jacob was just a regular guy, a simple guy dwelling in tents. And when they dwell in tents, what all they do all day is pray, worship, and they're there with the locals, I guess the local people. 28. And Isaac loved Esau because he did eat of his venison, but Rebekah loved Jacob. So Isaac loved Esau because he did eat of his venison, but Rebekah loved Jacob. So it looks like when he was born, I guess what they're talking about, the placenta, venison. Let me look at that. I mean, venison, when you say venom, first thing I think of is something that like poisonous. Uh, Let me check that venison just to make sure. I always have a dictionary just in case you don't understand, because we're sometimes we're not picking up things, so it's better to know than not to know. Venison, venom, like venom. It if it's venison. Let me see. V-E. Venison. Edible flesh. So venison, game, venison, edible flesh of a deer. So he ate of his venison. So I had to pick that as meaning his the when he was born, he ate of the placenta. He ate some of the placenta before the mother. That it has to be that because he ate of the flesh of Esau, and after that came and Isaac loved Esau. 25 chapter verse 28. And Isaac loved Esau because he did eat of his venison. So venison is the flesh, the edible flesh of a deer. So he ate of his edible flesh. It has to be the placenta. But Rebekah loved Jacob. So that is what God was saying, that they were going to be two different. They were going to be separated. Up in verse 23, and the Lord said unto her, to Rebekah, two nations are in thy womb, and two manner of people shall be separated from thy bowels. Okay? And the one people shall be stronger than the other people, and the elder shall serve the younger. Okay, so meaning that the elder son Esau is going to serve Jacob, because Esau is a hunter, and he goes out in the field and he works hard and he's cunning. But Jacob hangs around as a simple guy, plain guy, hangs around the tent. So Jacob is going to be looking after Esau will end up taking care of Jacob. I'm sorry. Jacob will end up taking care of. I'm getting the two names confused. Let me just look at it. Yeah, Esau. Jacob will take care of Esau because Esau, Rebecca, it's like Esau is like a mama's boy because Let me go back up here. And Isaac loved Esau because he did eat of his vineyards. Okay, Esau, why am I going? Is closer to Isaac the father, and Jacob is a mama's boy because Rebecca loved Jacob, and so because I'm just trying to understand it. Jacob was a plain man dwelling in tents, right? So Esau is a cunning hunter, is a man of the field, and he's always hunting. So he's going to end up taking care of Jacob. Verse 29, and Jacob sod pottage. So you know when you get pottery, when you have the things spinning around and they're doing pottery. Um, and Jacob sod pottage, and Esau came from the field, and he was faint. He was really tired. He was very tired. 30. And Esau said to Jacob, feed me, I pray thee, with that same red pottage, for I am faint. Therefore was his name called Edom. So he came in tired. Esau came in tired and just wanted to eat. He was tired and faint. He asked his brother, feed me. I pray for you. You know, I pray for you with the same red pottage because he was still doing the same thing. Because when you're doing pot, when you what do you call that, sculpture, and they have the clay, it takes a while, and sometimes it falls apart, and you got to do it all over again. So he was telling them that I pray for you with the same red pottage, for I'm faint. He's tired, and he's still doing the same thing. Feed me, give me something to eat. Therefore was his name called Edom. Okay. And Jacob said, sell me this day thy birthright. And Esau said, behold, I am at the point to die, and what profit shall this birthright do to me? And Jacob said, swear to me this day. And he swore unto him, and he sold his birthright unto Jacob. 34. And Jacob gave Esau bread and pottage of lentils, and he did eat and drink, and rose up and went his way. Thus Esau despised his birthright. So it looked like they changed because they were twins, and so they switched identities, is what they did. They switched identities because Esau said he was at point to die, and what profit shall this birthright do to me? So he was really tired and he wanted to eat. He was telling the younger brothers, Jacob, um, the same red pottage, for I'm faint, therefore was his name called Edom. So they switched identities. They were twins. And Jacob said, sell me this day thy birthright. He wanted to sell him his birthright, means sell me your birth certificate. And Esau said, behold, I am at the point to die, and what profit shall this birthright do to me? Okay, and Jacob said, swear to me this day, and he swore unto him, and sold his birthright unto Jacob. Okay, sold his birthright to Jacob, the twin baby brother. 34. Then Jacob gave Esau bread and pottage of lentils, and because he was sod and pottage, so he can, I guess, something he can eat out of. So lentils are peas or the beans. So he gave him some bread and a pottage of lentils, and he did eat and drink. Jacob gave Esau bread and a pottage of lentils, and he did eat and drink, and he rose up and went his way, meaning that he excelled into his new life, his new identity, and he and rose up and went his way. Thus Esau despised his birthright. So Esau despised his birthright, and he sold his. They switched. So I guess the parents are not going to know that this is really not Jacob in the tent. This is Esau, because Esau said that he was so faint and tired that he was at the point of dying. So let's see what happens in. Let's see how much time I have. Um, I'm going to do a few verses, chapter 26, and then I'm going to stop, cut this video off, and then I will restart and continue chapter 26 on a new video coverage. The Abrahamic covenant confirmed to Isaac, and it's chapter 26. And there was a famine in the land beside the first famine that was in the days of Abraham. And Isaac went unto Abimelech king of the Philistines unto Gerar. And the Lord appeared unto him and said, Go not down into Egypt, dwell in the land which I shall tell thee of. Okay, so the Lord is telling um, Isaac, who in fact went unto Abimelech, king of the Philistines. Because before his father went with Abimelech, the king, so it looked like the king of the Philistines is still alive. Because Isaac's father died, Abraham. So remember, Abraham went with them before, I think before before he complained about those servants that was given to him by the king, had destroyed that well. So now we got his son Isaac is traveling now um, into Abimelech, king of the Philistines, until Gerar. Verse 2, and the Lord appeared unto him, the Lord appeared unto Isaac, and said, Go not down into Egypt. Tell him, do not go to Egypt. Dwell in the land which I shall tell thee of. 3, sojourn in this land, and I will be with thee, and will bless thee, for unto thee and unto thy seed I will give all these countries, and I will perform the oath which I swear unto Abraham thy father. So God is setting him up. He's getting him all ready for his future. And he says, do not go to Egypt. Do not go to Egypt. And you know we all did see a coverage whereby Egypt had some problems with the prime minister. They did reject it, and they were having some issues with, and then we lost one of our ambassadors over there, diplomats. I forgot the guy's name. He was unfortunately dragged out of there and beat to death or something like that. I'm so sorry I don't remember his name. But I do remember President Obama and Hillary Clinton. They had like a commemorate of him, like a memorial of his death, and they all spoke. I don't think his name was Richard. I'm sorry, I don't remember his name. I'll see if I can remember it in the next video coverage. I'll bring it up. But he says, do not go to Egypt. Dwell in the land which I shall tell thee of. Sojourn in this land. It means stay here, get used to it. Settle down in this land, and I will be with thee. God is telling, I will be with you. You have to trust in God. Believe that He's going to be with you no matter what. You can't get mad at your neighbors and want to kill everybody because you're struggling. It's something that you're doing wrong if you're not making it. It's a life you're living, and you can't blame anybody but yourself. It's something that you're doing wrong. If you are continually doing things that are not agreeable to the revelations of God, you're going to be hollering and screaming and complaining about why you this, why you that. You've been patient with God and He didn't help you, so you're going to do all these crimes. You are playing with fire. Nothing is going to ever change for you, because God comes when He want to come. Some people do not listen to God. They do not listen to the unction, their notions that they come up with, the ideas. And it's God talking to you in your spirit, and they don't listen to themselves. And you have to jot things down, just to make sure that, you have dreams, but you're a dreamer, but you're not a doer. Well, if you're a dreamer and you're yet to fulfill those dreams, jot things down and just make a journal. And then, just one day when you mature to the level where you want to be, Because if you're immature to that level, you can dream all you want to. You want to do this, want to do this, want to do that, but you never do it because you're yet to mature to the level of what you want to be, what you want to become, um, in what you want to do. Because everyone wants to do this, want to do this. If you ask me 20 years ago, was not thinking of becoming a doctor. I wanted to just be a medical assistant and work a job and just have a professional job where I can take care of myself and survive. That's all I wanted, But then I never thought that I would move forth and to climb a little bit higher to where I wanted to be. Because when I got there, I see that there was a lot of cat fighting going on. There was a lot of in the healthcare services. It wasn't stable. It was imbalanced, and I can't be in environments where things are imbalanced. I need to be sure that I'm okay, that things going to be okay for me. And all of us, we want to have a job. We want to become gainfully employed and work somewhere where we're going to receive a retirement. But no one speaks about retirement anymore. You know, you take and you invest all this money, and then 2 years later you're fired, and then you forgot you're in a retirement program. You see, and then they think you forgot and left that money there. So we have, and that money should be drawing some interest because you're 100% vested because you left money there. So there's a lot of things going on with Isaac right now, and so God is talking to him and letting him know, do not go to Egypt. Settle down, stay where you are. I will give all these countries to you, and I will perform the oath which I swore, the same oath he swore unto Abraham thy father. So he's now blessing, because some of us receive blessings and some of us do not receive blessings fast enough than others. But he was just blessed because God blessed Abraham. Now he's blessing Isaac. Some people are just blessed. It's like they can't do nothing wrong. But then I think that there's somebody, everyone has a story to tell. And if you're in doubt about a person, is and you want to know about them, and you see they are successful or they look like they're successful, or you don't ever see them out of work and they're always doing, and you're always struggling, go and talk to that person. Just say to them that, I admire you very much. I admire, how well you are living, your living standards and everything. And, could you help me with understanding how you do it? You could go and ask people. You don't have to get behind somebody back and destroy their cars and break in their house and rob them because you're jealous of how well they're doing. It's best to go and speak to people and find a way you can help yourself. They might be able to give you a reference for that job that you're trying to achieve. You know, you everybody needs somebody to push them along, to give them a little motivation. So if you're demotivated, if you're discouraged and you're depressed and you don't have anybody to talk to and you're angry and you want to destroy the world because of it, before you do that, just look around you. There's people that can talk to you and help you, to motivate you and encourage you, to make you feel better about yourself. Because you can't make yourself feel better, then you need to go find somebody else. Why you want to go and boom, blow your brains out when just a few seconds before you boom your brains out, you could have spoken to somebody, anyone, and just, maybe by that time, not about what you want to do to yourself, but just whatever is bothering you. That, I just came by today, I want to talk to somebody because, I don't feel good today or whatever. Could you help me? I'm having problems finding a job. Do you know anybody that's hiring? Do you have a family member or a sister or brother, anyone that's working somewhere that maybe you can let them know that I need a job? But see, what we do is our neighbors, they have work and they stick their nose in the air and they go in their house and they slam the door. And you have your neighbors all around you. There's a lot of people are not working and they need a job. and you working and you know they're hiring, and you won't even tell your neighbor, that they're hiring, and you know that person is unemployed. So people are just people are just not thinking. They're selfish without even knowing they're selfish. They just don't have it. They don't have that love within their soul to be able to be given in information. They think that you know to share and to help someone become knowledgeable about something that might benefit that person, that you might put yourself in jeopardy of losing a job. And this is how people think. Well, if I refer her for the job, what if I get fired? And so they won't refer you, or they won't let you know that someone's hiring on a job because they're afraid if they get fired and you're still working there. So it's a selfish thing that they have going on. So now Abraham is all set up, and I will make thy seed to multiply. So God is letting Abraham know, I'm sorry, Isaac know, Abraham's son, and I will make thy seed to multiply as the stars of heaven, and will give unto thy seed all these countries, and in thy seed shall all the nations of the earth be blessed. Okay, because of that. So all the nations of the earth. Now God has blessed all the nations of the earth. And here we are fighting, killing, 9/11, Iraqi war, uh, World War II, Vietnam, Desert Storm. All these things because people are complex and they do not know how to talk to one another to agree to anything, or one person or somebody is one-sided and they are thwarting the ideas and diverting the other person's ideas from coming to light, or they're holding them down or being despotic and ruler to extreme over the other person who believes that they are independent and they can make their country, they can make it in their own country without your help. And so God has already blessed the whole world. Why is it that we're having these problems? It's what he's saying right here in chapter 25, Genesis, okay, the first book of Moses, and it's chapter 26. And he's saying that the same as he blessed Abraham and now he's blessing Isaac, that he's already blessed the nations of the earth already. So what is it that if you're blessed and you don't know it, you're going to destroy your blessing because you're evil and because you're doing so many things that are not according to God, you know, appropriate. How dare you do these things before me? Because I'm right here looking at you. And they don't even believe God is in their presence. They just think that, oh, I'm going to stab this person up and chop their heads off and do this and do that because God is not watching me. And it's everywhere. We're doing it everywhere. People are killing people everywhere. Children are killing people. Children are killing children. There's something wrong with that picture. And I think it can be fixed if only we pay attention to what's going on around us. And before I close, the last verse I'm going to read is chapter 26, verse 5. Because that Abraham obeyed my voice and kept my charge, my commandments, my statutes, and my laws. So, because Abraham obeyed God's voice and kept, his agreements and covenant without breaking it, and commandments and statutes, and his laws in order, because he was a judge. Abraham was selected as a judge. Judge sit there and order in the court. Abraham was judge. So Isaac is really a mediator. He mediates. So because Isaac Isaac is blessed because his father did what God said. So think of that, man. If you are leading your children properly, if you are in the eyes of God, following the Bible, following his teachings, his laws, his statutes, his commandments and everything, God is going to bless you. And you got to believe it. Therefore, your sons now, not your daughters, your sons because it looks like the Bible is designed our lives as a living soul on earth, being a creation of God, the people of God. Men were blessed, and their sons were blessed only if their father had followed the teachings, the laws, the commandments, the statutes, and had taken heed to the limitations of what they were to do and not to do. Then, if you had followed God's revelations, there was no way for you to not have been blessed. And that's what he's saying right here. Thank you very much for viewing my videos. Again, I am Velma Bland. I will be continuing chapter 26 probably on tomorrow. It is getting late. It's 12:54 a.m. And again, I haven't even read. I haven't even read over any of the material here. I just open the Bible and I just start reading and interpreting it from it. I'm not an ordained minister, but I'm reading it from my knowledge of literature and from my experience of reading over so many years um, of having the experience in education and listening and sitting in through so many hours of lectures. And so that is where I get it from. I'm not trying to change the world or anything. I do not want anyone to say that I am trying to do pastor's work or transform people to go against what their pastors are saying. But everyone has their own decision and their own unique ideas, and each and every one of us, we're ordinary people, but we are unique in our own ways. And people are not stupid. They're sitting there and they're hearing things, and they know the difference between black and white, green and orange, and they know the difference between good and bad, and right and left. And that's just people. They know. And so it's one of the reasons why I believe we should be honest and should be direct, with what we're saying and tell people the truth, so that you don't have to look over your shoulder and wonder who's going to catch you in a lie. Because if you tell the truth, you never have to worry about anything. You don't have to worry about what you said and what you have to prove it again. And no, I didn't say that. But I truly believe in the truth. I don't like people lying to me. And if you don't lie to me, then I'm happy. Then I feel safe around you. Thank you and God bless. Good night.